We are crossing over to Paris in just a moment, where Andy Mitten will join us to talk through Manchester United's dramatic win last night, where nobody really saw this coming.
Well, what a mountain to climb Manchester United have in the Champions League last 16. Full-time, United 0, PSG 2.
So where does this leave the tie? You've got a mountain to climb in Paris now.
Yeah, but mountains are there to be climbed, aren't they? Because you can't lay down and say this is over.
This is the game! That is the goal! Can you believe it? Manchester United revived the ghosts of Fergie time! They've somehow done it again!
How long would you like on your contract? What would your salary like to be? And where would you like the statue?
Fantastic night, eh? It's. I'm just going to do my best until the summer, see what the club decides.
They've only got one decision to make now, haven't they?
I hear you keep saying that, so we just tonight we have to remember they're a fantastic night. You just the spirit of Man United. Great to see the boss in there after the game as well, first time. So the lads were just absolutely magnificent.
Like you said, that's the problem. The long time to wait is difficult, but you just try and stay calm and stay concentrated, because it's a skill that you practice a lot of times when you're younger, and it can be basic, but at the same time it can be difficult. So just concentration.
Did you know way in advance where you were going to put it, what were you going to do? You had so long to think about it.
No, I was just waiting to see what the keeper would do when I was running up to the ball. But he stays strong, so I go to what I know best, and that's what I know.
Andy Mitten, a very good morning to you. How are you?
I'd like a bit more sleep. I'm pumped up with adrenaline. I've been on the road for 4 days now. I went to Madrid to see that wonderful game with Ajax, and I'm heading off to Nantes today to see Fabio da Silva, and then at 11 p.m. tonight, which seems a different world away. I've got a flight to take, but I'm absolutely buzzing because of what I saw in Parc des Princes last night. I didn't expect it. I thought PSG were by far the better team in the first leg, especially in the second half, and I just didn't expect an injury-hit Manchester United team to even get a draw. And there was not a lot of tension among fans in Paris yesterday, 2,500 fans, lots more without tickets. It was a free hit, and before the game I spoke to Mike Phelan on the side of the pitch, and it was almost as if he was looking more towards the Arsenal game on Sunday. And I said, come on, we can't just give up like this. And then to see what happened, I was stunned. I was stunned when they went ahead. I wasn't surprised when PSG dominated and equalised. Stunned when United went ahead again. But even in the 85th minute, I just didn't expect Manchester United to win, to get another goal. And I'm thinking, whatever happens here, it looks like they're going to win. It's not going to be good enough to take the team through, but Ole Gunnar should get the job on a permanent basis. Ole and his staff, because he always makes a point of it not just being about him. And then in the 89th minute, this big roar went up from the away section, a real defiant United, United, United. And then there was this confusion, and the referee walked away a couple of minutes later to a screen, and there was a big melee around the screen between the two benches, and it was a penalty. And Marcus Rashford, a kid from Manchester, stepped up, put it in, and it's one of the top 5 moments in Manchester United's history. It really is that good.
Kid from Manchester
to come away against such a good team, a team who started to fray. They look like, I've seen Paris bottle it before. I was in Camp Nou and Barcelona surged back and defeated them, and it happened again. But I spoke to people like Patrice Evra there. I spoke to Fred after the match. There was just a huge buzz around the place, and now United fans are looking forward to a last eight which nobody expected, including myself.
Yeah, it really is just remarkable. You touched on it there yourself, like the idea that they had 10 frontliners missing last night. That statistic that flashed up in the first half was 13% of possession at one point. And then at one stage of the game, I just saw another statistic this morning that Chris Smalling had more tackles, interceptions, clearances and blocks than he had completed passes. This was like an unbelievable triumph of survival, wasn't it, Andy? Yeah,
Smalling's been really good, and he's often been a scapegoat among United fans, and not always fair that United fans feel they need to have a scapegoat, but they do. And Smalling has been that person many times. But he was very, very good at Chelsea away in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote a piece about him. And he was excellent again last night. So I know in the first leg, the two Paris Central defenders, led by the captain Thiago Silva, were first class, and the two midfielders, Verratti and Marquinhos. But last night was United's night, and I spoke to Andreas Pereira on Sunday, and he said, we're confident. We're looking forward to going to Paris. And I thought, it's easy to say that because you've got nothing to lose. You're not expected to win. And then they won. And so many of the players did well. And at the start, you mentioned that 13% statistic. I looked on the screen and saw that, and I pointed it out to a couple of the journalists. At the same time, I'm watching Eric Bailly really struggle as a right back. And sometimes fate plays its hand. He came off injured, and Dalot came on, and he looked more of a threat. But even Dalot, at one point, he swung the ball across the pitch straight to a PSG player, and it was just thinking, it's error-strewn at times, and yet Manchester United were winning 2-1 when this happened. And as Sir Alex Ferguson said in Camp Nou, football, bloody hell. It really was one of those nights.
Yeah, like the main thing that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given credit for over the past 2.5 months or so has been the ability to reinvigorate the team chemistry and make the dressing room a much happier place. And like you say, Bailly came off injured and all that. I'm giving Solskjaer the benefit of the doubt here in terms of identifying Dalot, bringing him on and all that sort of thing. And is he starting to create this cult of a very intelligent manager who's actually far more tactically astute than we gave him credit for previously?
He's tactically smart. And he doesn't say a lot to the players, but when he does talk, they listen to him. And he uses the first couple of minutes of half-time to get his strong words out of the way. But even when he criticises the players, he does so, they feel, in a constructive manner. And he talks to them like footballers because he was a footballer himself. He does have the advantage of not being called Jose Mourinho. So he came in and there was a chance for him and anyone else to pick the mood up off the floor. And he did that. He did that from the first day among the staff when he turned up at the Works Christmas function. And among the fans, I stood outside Cardiff City's ground before a ball had been kicked and everyone was completely buzzing. And that was before any football had been played. And that buzz has not dissipated since. Tactically, you could say that he got it wrong in the first leg at Old Trafford. But last night, I wasn't sure whether he was going to play a 5 at the back. I was talking to Wes Brown before the game, and Wes said, "Where's Bailly fitting in here? I'm sure he's going to play midfield here." And I thought, you can't put Eric Bailly in midfield against Verratti. And the game started, and it looked to be a very straight 4-4-2. But Solskjaer is smart, but it's not just him. He's very close and takes on board the opinions of Nick Phelan, an experienced coach, Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna. And even last week when he received an award for being manager of the month, he didn't want to be pictured alone with the trophy. He said this is a team effort. When he wants the job, he doesn't want it for himself. He wants it for all of them. They come as a team. And somebody very senior at the club said to me, the previous managers, they all had their faults. They all had the positives as well. And quite often both sides were exaggerated publicly, but they were more about them. This is about a team and about a football club that he clearly cares a lot about. Now, that only takes you so far, but it's taken United quite far so far because they've won all 9 away matches. They've beaten Chelsea away, Arsenal away, Fulham away, Paris Saint-Germain away. It's so unexpected, but it is wonderful for these United fans.
I know you've got to go, Andy, but just one quick word on Romelu Lukaku before we wrap up, because the man was so maligned over the past couple of months. The stuff that was said about him, I thought was particularly horrible, like on social media and all that sort of thing during the Jose Mourinho era. Do you think he's proved himself to the point where he's realistically at this moment, Andy, or is he overperforming at the moment under Solskjaer?
I think United still need a new striker because they over-relied on Lukaku, and there's times where he goes through these goal droughts. He was undoubtedly struggling earlier on this season. His body language said it, his words said it. His stock had fallen. The fans were not that bothered about him. They wouldn't have been that bothered if he was sold, but his scoring record recently, he was one of the final players to come good under Solskjaer. And not everyone has. Alexis Sanchez has yet to do that. And a fit and productive Alexis Sanchez would help Romelu Lukaku immensely. But if you compare Lukaku last night with the same, the equivalent high of last year in Seville, he was isolated, often had no players around him within 20 or 30 metres. Sevilla had 22 shots on target. Manchester United had 3. And then last night, he was exhausted towards the end. I was amazed that he wasn't brought off. But he scored the goals. He's scoring goals. If you're a goal scorer and you score goals, everything else is secondary. And some of the criticism is unfair, but you're looking there on social media, it's very different at the matches. It is. You're seeing the most extreme examples on social media, which get amplified because they're extreme. But the fans have been broadly supportive of him. I'm not going to pretend that he's a cult hero, because he isn't. People sing about Solskjaer at the moment, but Lukaku has had a great month, and he's a good goal scorer. And I think he can become a great goal scorer for United if the conditions are right. Because while we get carried away with what's going on, there's still a lot of work needs to be done. I think if United played PSG 10 times, PSG would probably win 7 of those times. United do need another striker. They do need a right back. The defence needs to be sorted. And I think give Ole Gunnar the job now. Let him plan ahead. He's got a very good relationship with Ed Woodward. There is money there. They're not under pressure to sell like Ajax. I spoke to Ajax fans yesterday. I was in Madrid with them, and I felt really sorry for them because they know they're going to lose 7 of the players in the summer. Manchester United do not have that pressure. They're very, very fortunate. They're almost at the top of the transfer tree. And what they've got to do is be smarter in their recruitment, and so that there's less Alexis Sanchez's and more of a combination of the players who work and the youth lads who are coming through. It was great that Mason Greenwood, a young striker, came on last night. You're getting young local lads coming through and being given a chance. And that is so important to Manchester United. And Manchester City have got a great youth system, but their players don't get a chance in the first team. At United, they do.
That's special as well,
like
Andy,
Paris,
isn't it?
It pays off.
That must be special that like a homegrown kid could score a goal of that magnitude, because, you know, the disassociation between local areas and big clubs nowadays, such that, you know, it's often quite rare that a young local product is playing. That must have been quite special.
Of course it is. He grew up 3 miles from where I grew up. I support Manchester United. They're my local team. All my mates, they go to all of the matches. And for a lad who your mates know, because Rashford's a generation younger than me, my brother knows. And to see him thrive as a Manchester United player and score a goal of that magnitude in the Parc des Princes, of course it adds value to it. This isn't someone who's been brought in on wages of $400,000 a week and talked about always wanting to play for United when you know it's not really true. He's a United fan. He's from Manchester. It adds value to it. And I love the idea of the young players coming through, because it's so important. A part of this club, be it lads who've come over from Dublin, George Best from Belfast, and Marcus Rashford from Manchester. It makes football better. And I've got a lot of admiration for what Athletic Club Bilbao do in playing local players. I celebrate Manchester United's internationalness. I love the fact that there are fans around the world, and I go to away games and I meet United fans regularly who've travelled from Cork or Dublin or Galway. The commitment is absolutely incredible, but it's also a great bonus when you get a young Manchester kid coming through scoring a goal like that.
I should ask, just as a final point before we let you go, Andy, just from the people you've heard speaking around the club, it's surely a matter of when, not if, Solskjaer gets the job. Yes, I was speaking to some pretty senior people yesterday. I'm not going to say that he's been offered the job for certain, because he hasn't been. But yeah, I tweeted last night that he should be offered it now, and he should be, and I'm pretty certain that is the overriding sentiment. And the club know that, but they've been able to take time because they've had time. But when someone said yesterday to me in Madrid, Solskjaer's doing well, do you think he'd like to come over here? That really spooked me. Professional journalist is like, well, you know, and then the fan in me is thinking, no, this can't happen. So as somebody at the club said to me last night, maybe he needs to be linked with another club for Manchester United to make their decision. So I'm officially linking Solskjaer now with Shelbourne.
Ian Morris is already under pressure after 1 game, 2 games.
Yeah, we've already got the piece up on the side. Andy Mitten from the Bernabeu to the Parc des Princes. It wasn't a bad midweek for you. Thanks a million for taking the call.
Great to talk to you. Bye-bye.